He's like leaning in hard.
Oh yeah. The sides are already starting to flip on this side.
It is Saturday, October 22nd or 23rd, something like that. And what you see behind me here would be our pigs doing what they're designed to do, and that's do some rooting. That's where they just dig into this dirt. I don't know whether we'll pick it up from our shots this morning, but this was a pile of wood chips that we're basically using to fill in the areas around the water, the automatic water that we use. And so that dirt is very, very soft, and they are having a blast digging into this soft dirt. Let me see if I can get a closer shot for you guys. So you can see they are having a good old time doing what they're designed to do, and that's dig into the ground. So one of the reasons why we enjoy raising pigs this way and why we do this is because we want to let pigs be pigs. And pigs are designed to do this. They're designed to dig down into the ground and pick up roots, and that's why it's called rooting. They also find some yummies down in there to chow down on. Grubs, worms, bugs, roots, all that kind of stuff, they will eat and gladly do it. Now with our pigs here, this is a good thing. We want them to do that. It's the reason why we have them here. The challenge is all pigs, even when they're not, I guess, officially pigs or technically pigs for us here in Arizona, like to do this as well. And for us, we've had that happening this week, and it's getting a little frustrating. This spot right here, I'm gonna see if I can find the video and I'll put it up here with this shot. But I was sitting here about a month ago, we were talking about buying land in Arizona, and you can probably tell in that video that this whole side was green all the way down to the ground because we've let these newly establishing grapevines pour the vines down onto the ground and continue to put root growth down. But what you can see here is we have something that decided to come along and chow down on all of the leaves. For the most part, it was just leaves, not the branches, but what we found and what we saw here the other night is Javelina. In fact, we had 4 large Javelina. Now, I'm a hunter, so I'm used to seeing Javelina, hunting Javelina, and I've seen them, little tiny babies. Typical ones are about this big. These guys are bruisers. I'm guessing these are 50, 60 pounds, possibly more, but I'm estimating. And I mean, just big Javelina, big pigs. So we saw 4 of them off the patio, and actually we had originally seen them on our security cameras. We were in town Wednesday evening, and right about 7 o'clock, we saw a Javelina wandering around the patio. I'll see if I can show you some security footage of this Javelina. So you can see it's been around the house, and then what we saw on Thursday evening was some destruction actually in a few of our beds. So not only are they attacking the bottoms of these vines, but let me show you these beds. This is actually what's left of one of our beds that had sweet potatoes in it. Now, we've talked a little bit about this before. In fact, we had Javelina coming through this bed a few months back, but hadn't seen them in quite a while. They had actually done the same thing. They had taken out a couple of small sweet potato vines and left most of our cowpeas in this bed. Well, they decided to come back this week and finish the job. So they came through on Thursday night, started tearing these apart, and then on Friday the same thing happened. And they came back last night and just really trashed the place. So very frustrating, needless to say. Lori, in fact, I'm gonna show you what Lori did yesterday. We saw them Thursday, and we wanted to make sure we got a harvest out of here. So I'm gonna cut to that. You can see Lori doing a little bit of harvesting here yesterday. We still got a few sweet potatoes out of here. There's still some small roots in here, which is exactly what they're coming back for. And it's pretty frustrating, needless to say. We had planned for this, and we actually have cages that we put, hardware cloth that we put actually around the base here. You know, they don't, one advantage to the trip tape is they're just pushing this out of the way so it's not permanently damaging this. But I think we're gonna just pull these back with the expectation that they'll be back again tonight. Leave this torn up because they're just gonna continue to do this. But one other thing I wanna show you is our pumpkins. This is what's left of our pumpkins. So you can see last night they came in, decided to go ahead and pull that out for us, and pretty much devour most of the edible leaves. We have the fencing up here that was designed to keep rabbits out. Obviously it was doing fine there, but they didn't even take into account these cages. They're just pushing them out of the way and get it. I mean, these are big, much bigger animals. You know, they're the size of our pigs at this point. We knew that we had Javelina. We've seen them before, and we've been preparing for this. Obviously, we're gonna need to keep them fenced out. That's really the only thing we can do at this point. And what I want to do is go ahead and show you the fencing that we're using that seems to be doing well, and you'll see why. This is one of our other beds that we've already put on the additional protection. You can see they come through and they eat all the leaves. So they're leaving the vines themselves and chowing down on the greens. They haven't been able to get through, in and through the hardware cloth that we have installed specifically for Javelina. So those 3 beds that you saw in the front, we never had time to go back and get those installed. So they were just kind of on their own. So we knew we were taking a chance there anyway. And of course, you can see what happened. But we have plenty of sweet potatoes left over in this bed. And you can see they're even growing out of these, the netting here. So we have one more bed here next to me that has sweet potatoes that are doing well, that only has the bird netting that they've gotten through before. So what we're gonna do with you guys here this morning is go ahead and shore up this last bed that has some good sweet potatoes in it. That way we can conserve the harvest out of these 3 beds that were essentially prepared for the attack, so to speak. Good. We went ahead and cleaned up the rest of the vines that were hanging outside of these caged up beds. just because I figure less things for them to munch on, the better. That way, eventually they get bored and wander off. At least that's our hope. We'll see how that turns out. But you can see definitely reinforced a lot better. They didn't even attempt to try to get into these beds. And obviously they know that those sweet potatoes are in there. So the good news for our pigs is they get some snacks, which you'll see. They love their sweet potato greens, also the grapevines. So not surprising that the Javelina, our version of pigs here in Arizona, are doing the exact same thing. Really curious what you guys think as far as those Javelina. We were talking about it last night. We're like, okay, so what is the benefit to a Javelina? I suppose if you think they're cute, there's that. You know, we have a lot of different things on the property. So we have coyotes. The benefits of coyotes obviously is helping to keep the population of rodents, and also rabbits down. They definitely do that, so don't mind having them here. You know, lizards, tarantulas, everybody has its place and has its role. But this one we're struggling with. So if you guys have some ideas as to why a Javelina is a benefit to the property, I'm curious. Because we can't figure it out. They're just really frustrating, very destructive. Everybody has something. Like a lot of people have deer, right? I mean, obviously the advantage to having pigs versus deer is they're not as tall. So, you know, they're chewing on the grapevines, but they're not able to get up to the top of the grapevines and munch on those. You can kind of see how tall they are, and they might reach a little bit, but for the most part, they're looking down. So we had some really good questions this week. Somebody had asked about the farm business and gave her an answer, and realized that that's something we should probably cover as just a topic as we're going through the process of getting the farm established. We've got the workshop next weekend that's completely sold out, so we filled that up.
We overfilled that.
Okay, we overbooked it.
I couldn't say no to people.
I know. We're like an airline, except that we just couldn't say no. So it wasn't overbooking out of spite, knowing you couldn't actually take care of it. But we were expecting a smaller crowd.
Yeah.
But that was neat. I think one of the things we had talked about was asking you guys what you guys would like us to cover. So I think that's probably one of them. Just, you know, how do we make money on the farm? Especially having you here full time. So would be a good topic. But if you guys have some other ideas for us, definitely leave those in the comment section down below. If this is your first time joining us, this is our weekly vlog. This is where we give everybody an update on what's going on around the farm. This week we focused on a challenge. Javelina, which we get from time to time, but we'd love to have you as a subscriber. We cover a lot of things here. We're sitting in front of actually one of our nectarine trees, so fruit trees is definitely one of them. Today was kind of livestock and pest focused, but that's what we do. And share the content. If you know anybody that's into this kind of thing, it helps us a lot here if you would share the content. Any questions or comments down below, that's where those go. And a free, painless way to help support the channel is our Amazon shop. I'll leave a link down in the description. If you start with that link, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere,
So can you. Ooh, careful.
What? That first step's a doozy. Nope, it wants you. I don't blame it. That makes sense to me. Sometimes just being here is kind of nice.
Yeah. So it's quiet right now.